Welcome back to the Uncharted Summit. The race to dominate the AI space has been quick, but it has also been messy. And it promises to get maybe even messier, whether it is massive companies like Microsoft and Alphabet or emerging startups. Firms are fighting tooth and nail for the massive investments that are pouring in to the AI industry. However, amid that urgency, we have seen Google, OpenAI, and others make mistakes, raising moral concerns around the future of AI. Joining us now to discuss further is Eyee, an award-winning AI expert and CEO of AI consulting firm Malo Santo. Welcome. Good to have you with us.
Welcome. It's a pleasure to be here today, Ty.
Eyee, Eyee.
Eyee, like
Eyee. You also get the award for coolest sneakers. We'll pan down. You say your company's goal is to make sure that AI helps more than it hurts. Do you think that the leadership of the companies that are leading the way in artificial intelligence are doing enough to follow through on that?
I think that it's a very tricky thing to balance, right? When you look at leaders of companies like Google and Microsoft and Amazon, you have to remember that they're driven just as much by their passion for this technology to drive innovation as they are by fiduciary duty, which requires them to prioritize making money. And what I've seen in the last 12 years that I've been in artificial intelligence is sometimes there's a trade-off between slowing down the pace of something that you're building inside of an AI system or hurrying it to market and being able to make money faster. And so there's an inherent tension between doing the right thing.
Are they hitting the sweet spot in that or not?
I think that there's a recent example that makes me concerned.
Okay.
So recently, Google used a large language model inside of its AI overview. It released that feature, which used generative AI to answer search results. Well, Google, number one, is the company where the research paper came out of that created the transformer architecture, which is basically why we have large language models. Now, large language models are not intelligent systems. They're basically big math calculation engines that take your prompt, your text, convert it to math, and then guess what word should come next. And because that's how they operate, they basically are always at risk of doing something called hallucinating, which is making up facts that aren't true. Now, Google, as the company who produced the researchers who created this technology, knew that their AI overview feature was probably going to hallucinate. But they still turned it on anyway. So I saw search results for things like, how many rocks should a person eat in a day? And it authoritatively responded, well, according to a research study at UC Berkeley, humans should eat 3 to 4 rocks a day. Now, while that answer is somewhat funny, it's terrifying when we think about what happens if someone...
What happens if it's a serious question or an important question and you get that kind of hallucination?
Yeah, or you see Moderna turning on 750 different custom-trained chat GPTs, including for things like determining dosages in clinical trials, knowing that those large language models have the ability to hallucinate, and you cannot eliminate that.
Are there companies or leaders who are doing it better than others? Name them.
I would say definitely Eyee, so SSI, the Safe Superintelligence Institute that he just launched. I would also say that Anthropic is doing a much better job because their intention is to build this kind of technology in a way that aligns with society, not necessarily aligns with shareholders.
Let's talk about the U.S. versus Europe. There's the Digital Act that has just gone into effect or just been passed in Europe. Is Europe ahead of the U.S. in what you think needs to be done to create a more responsible sort of set of rules of the road for AI? Is Europe ahead of the U.S.?
So two things. One, yes, Europe is absolutely ahead of the U.S. when it comes to that. And I think the word responsible comes with a little bit of a moral charge to it. I think the way I like to think about it is these are the boundaries we need to put around these AI systems to align with our American values and the rights guaranteed to us in our Constitution, right? And so essentially, Europe has just passed the EU's AI Act, which takes a very intelligent approach to how they consider AI dangerous. So for example, if Netflix recommends a movie that I don't want to watch, that's not really going to cause me a lot of harm.
Doesn't matter.
However, if a AI system recommends that I should get a medicine that is actually going to harm me, or it recommends to a judge that my sentence should be longer than it should because of my race or my skin color, or it recommends through a CPS, Child Protective Services, that a child should be separated who's not in danger, that poses big risks. And I say those things because all of those are real use cases that are turned on right now.
They're really happening right now.